It's our weekly mastermind. We'll dive into three topics, actually, potentially two. We'll take a vote on it here in a second as far as what you guys want to start focusing in on. And if we have extra time, we'll go through all three. But again, the goal of today, just have it be very open to everybody. We'll start with these topics so we at least have a direction where we want to go towards and things we want to talk about. And then if you guys have questions or input, this is for everybody. So if you've done something that worked really well for you, in certain topic, please share. Or if you've done something and you failed at it, let us know so we don't make the same mistake. That's really about it, So today, three topics we're going to talk about. And I think this one's actually a repeated topic, but I think it'll still be good to go deeper on it because we didn't have enough time last time. So one is, creating that perfect listing presentation. So everything from start to finish, whether it's pre-listing packet. What are you doing when you're talking with clients to show your value, right? Or what do you just in general from start to finish do? Financial planning and budgeting. And this is, I think, is a good one. I think we can all use some good financial planning. And if anybody got done, I know we have some people here done business for quite a bit. If you've done some things that really help you budget the right way, maybe we can even involve like budgeting for leads versus, just how do you budget? What do you need to what percentage of your income should you put in there? And then creating a newsletter, right? So whether it's a mailer, whether it's an email, we'll kind of dive that in. So what out of these three, raise your hand if you want to talk. I don't even know. How did we vote last time? Maybe type in the two topics. Let's do this. Take a second and type in the two topics you want to focus on. That might be easier than having
And
everybody
it
talk
might
at
be
the same
even
time.
just one, it might even be just one topic, just based on how deep of a dive we go on it. So whichever one people want to talk about the
Yeah,
most, and we'll just see how it goes.
okay. All right, we'll give it 1 minute here. You guys don't be shy. Please type in. All right, we got a couple of newsletters so far, so maybe let's start with that one. So who's here? Budgeting newsletter seems like there's been. Oh, say hi to my Milan. Milan, say hi. All right,
President's
so we'll
Day, no
start with
school.
let's start with newsletter. Okay, so who here has done newsletters or doing newsletters currently, that you've been consistent with, not just like, hey, I've done something 3 years ago, and then you want to really share what you're doing right now, what you'd be doing last year, and if it works, like what are your strategies? So if anybody, I know we kind of briefly spoke on this last or 2 weeks ago. So yeah, who wants to jump in and start?
I can, Damon.
All
So
right.
we do a monthly newsletter. Uh, we send it out through our database, electronic, email based. We get all of our content for the most part through Coffee and Contracts. For those people who don't know what Coffee and Contracts is, it's a monthly subscription. I think it's about $20 a month. So they give you real estate related type topics to talk about in your newsletter, and then you can go ahead and kind of modify it and personalize it and brand it from there. One thing that they always have, which I think is a cool piece, is that they provide you with home maintenance tips for every month that the newsletter is going on. So, for instance, our newsletter will have February home maintenance tips this month, and we'll go through some of those pieces, which I think a lot of people like to see and understand. Um, we start off our newsletter with kind of a welcome paragraph, not so much a letter from the heart, although we're going to start getting a little bit more personalized on it, but just kind of talking a little bit about the real estate market, talking about a little bit about what's going on within our team. We will then go ahead and put some of our most recent Google or Zillow reviews in there so people can see it. They can see our listing and sales activity for that month. So it's a good way just to kind of stay in front of your clients on a monthly basis. So it probably takes us. I have a VA who does the formatting of it and does the send out through Follow Up Boss for us. And it probably takes us cumulatively about 2 hours a month to get that all integrated and prepped. So it's pretty easy, and it's been pretty effective. I would say it always seems as if once we send our newsletter out, we're getting some of our past clients kind of reaching out to us, so it's always good. They're kind of looking forward to that piece of it.
All right, Bob, and Kelly's coming up next. My question, do you send this out once a month or once a week? I think you mentioned.
Once a month we're doing it.
Okay. Okay. All right, Kelly, go ahead.
You're muted, Kelly.
Okay, sorry about that. Thanks. So question for you, Bob. So you said you can like manipulate it a little bit and customize it. I mean, is that a lot that you can do, like where you can interject like local statistics and things like that for your
Oh,
market,
absolutely.
or just brand it?
Yeah, in fact, I'll go ahead and pull it up so you guys can see what it looks like real quick. And then that'll be I can kind of run through it. I think I shared this a little bit with you guys. Maybe a couple of weeks ago we briefly talked about newsletters, but let me go ahead and just grab an example of that.
While you're digging too, it looks like Angela had a question. Curious how you keep your email provider from noting you as spam if you're sending it out in bulk.
Well, so they're all trusted people within that they have. So within Follow Up Boss, we send them out to certain tags within Follow Up Boss. Obviously, our past clients, our sphere, our nurture people that we're sending them out to. They have the opportunity to opt out if they'd like, and we haven't had any red flags brought up from that. They can opt in or opt out because they have that capability within Follow Up Boss to do that. So we haven't had any issues with it in that regard.
And to add on, like the people, your list, I think for me, like what I did is in my MailChimp, which is different system than Bob's uses, but I put everybody. I went through my email contacts I've had from like before I even was an agent, and I uploaded them. Like, I mean, the nice thing is you can get specific, whether it's, for example, it's a seller, it's a buyer. But before I've had some, like my success story last year, I did a seller workshop and I was doing my emails blessed into everybody. And the person who registered, I didn't even have them in my CRM because she was receiving my email and everything else. Ended up being a listing and a buy, I think 1,200,000 in volume from that one email. So that's also kind of, don't overthink it, that you need to have something specific. If you're starting out, get as many people as you can. Then you can start filter your database. For example, if it's your top 100 or past clients, if it's your sellers, buyers, for if it's just maybe it's a cold leads that you can just market to, but don't overthink it. I think when you start, if you don't have a huge database, just plug people in and start sending it to them.
Yeah. So I'll go through this real quick. So our newsletter is called the Snyder Tidbits. This is our January issue. We're actually we sent it out about the third week of the month because we want to get those statistics from SPAR. And SPAR statistics now are out. So we're actually right in the heat of the moment. Go ahead and creating this. But here's just kind of an opening paragraph that we put out there. We do leverage ChatGPT a little bit just so it's because sometimes what happens is you kind of start sounding a little redundant with your opening paragraph. So ChatGPT has helped us out a lot, kind of changing this out. We're just grabbing some images here that are kind of free stock images that my VA grabs. But for instance, the Coffee and Contracts had this little snippet on how to write a winning offer in this market. Then my VA took the stats from the 16 county metro area within SPAR and basically kind of broke things up right here, as you can see. And then you can see there's a little thumbnail with a video. So each month, either myself or Jennifer kind of goes through the stats with SPAR so people can click on the YouTube video and we will just kind of dig down a little bit deeper what those stats mean overall for the market. Okay. This emerging trends to watch. This was another Coffee and Contracts article that was in their newsletter release for February or for January, excuse me. Here was the January home maintenance checklist, which is just pretty basic stuff, but it's kind of cool stuff to share with people. And then we always just have a general like inquiry page. Hey, you have any questions about real estate? Here's who we've helped make the move this month. So you can kind of see our available listings, ones that went under contract, et cetera. Then we don't always have enough space to have it all out there. So then we'll just kind of single line some of these as well so people can see. And then we have a vendor of the month. So we highlighted our painter this month or back in January. So we had their information. And one of the things that you can do, we haven't done this yet, but we've had some conversations around it, is basically having like some business partners that would help cost share the newsletter with you, excuse me, in order to be part of your newsletter. So on average right now, this is going out to about 5,500 people a month in our database. Then we highlight some of our most recent 5-star Google reviews that you can see here. And then we highlight our team. So it's very much not just a team lead, Jennifer and Bob type thing, but it's a whole team newsletter that's getting sent out. So you can see all their information. And this next newsletter rendition, we're actually going to be highlighting an agent on our team each month so they can learn a little bit more about our team. So that should be pretty cool once we get that rolling. So that's essentially what we're doing from a newsletter perspective. And what we've done as well is if you guys have used Keeping Current Matters at all, you can also do this in like a blog sort of arrangement. So every 2 weeks, for instance, you could go ahead and send out a blog just talking about the market or talking about a hot real estate topic that can be really similar feel to this, and then link it to a video. You can load it up then as a blog on your website, etc. So this is one thing that we really try to be consistent on for us, and it's worked really good at generating, keeping our name in front of our past clients, or our client base, I should say. I don't like to say past clients because your past clients are always your clients, hopefully. But it's a reminder each month that, hey, we're still out here, we're still doing business. We look forward to helping you out as need be and whatnot.
So if someone was going to start out, like they don't have a newsletter right now, they want to start a newsletter and they don't want to pay for like, coffee and contracts or whatever. I mean, there's a lot of services out there right now, like Canva, blah, 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 that where you can probably design your own. What would you say are the key things, Bob, that you would want or that we should have in a newsletter or
Well,
anybody else? What do you guys think?
I think the key thing you need to make sure before you even start this process is that you have your database organized so you know who you're sending it to. So you want to make sure you have your database organized and really understand what's the purpose of sending out this newsletter and who's going to be receiving the newsletter. And then from there, because it doesn't have to be, I've seen agents send out one-page newsletters and they're super effective. It might be like links to where their listings are. It could be a hot real estate topic for the month, etc. But Kelly, to answer your question, I would just start by, first of all, making sure your database is organized, because that's key, not only for newsletters, but it's key for all the marketing to your sphere, is to get that piece squared away. And then, a really easy tool to use is like, Constant Contact is a good one. I think, Damon, you mentioned you're using, I don't know what you're using. Are you using
MailChimp.
yeah, MailChimp. MailChimp's a good. I actually use that for another business I'm in. We use MailChimp. I think it's $20 a month. And then you can literally go out to National Association of Realtors. You can go out to Inman and grab articles and put them in there and not have to have a real strong, knowledge of like Canva or anything like that. Just throw your logos out there and just kind of generally get it going. And just, I would say, like anything in sales, in marketing, you just need to be consistent with it.
Yeah.
Bob,
Yeah, I mean,
what's the
go
name
ahead.
of the company that you use for your newsletter?
Coffee and Contracts. That's where we get our articles from. And then
Where do you create it?
Excuse me?
Where do you create? What do you send it out from?
I'm sending my newsletter out through Follow Up Boss.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. So we're getting the most of the content for the more generic articles from Coffee and Contracts. And Coffee and Contracts actually integrates with Canva, which is cool. And then my VA takes it and puts it in Canva, fully designs it into a PDF sort of a PDF file. And then what we do there is we then go out and my VA knows exactly what tags to be sending this to, and then that gets sent out each month that way.
I get a question for Damien. MailChimp, can you assemble the whole newsletter in MailChimp?
Yeah, I actually have it up because I was doing MailChimp earlier today. And then here's the thing, you guys, it doesn't have to be like one time a month too. I send emails to my database probably once or twice a week. I don't know if you saw my Facebook status today, but it was about how you could lose thousands of dollars because of old carpet. And it was just an email directly, specifically giving them the thought process, how a lot of people, think, hey, let's give credit, but it creates that negative connotation. The experience is different where they lose out. And so you can I try to focus all my stuff more on sellers versus buyers, because that's the business I'm trying to create. And one lesson I've learned from Nick McLean, he's a big producer, one of John Chaplik's coaches, is a lot of these buyers are potential sellers in your database that you might not even know, and they might not have addresses in there. So you have to talk like they're sellers, and then you might get those little hand raisers that will come up. But here, let me share. Yeah, MailChimp, the nice thing is you can literally right there have a template, and then every time you just replicate the template and you plug in different stuff. So if you want to stay consistent with a newsletter, here, I'll share now. You just every time replicate it, and it'll be the same database that you'll be sending it out to. But this is the one I sent in January. So based on our conversation, I changed it up. I actually put like letter of the heart first. So kind of a little bit about vacation. We bought an investment property, just sharing a little bit. Then housing market recap. Again, took that stuff like Bob from Spar, and then I kind of looked through the couple paragraphs, and I plugged it in ChatGPT, and I said summarize this, and it kind of gave a little easy to read, in not bunch of numbers that people will not understand. This is the listing I was actually telling you guys about in Cottage Grove. So I kind of highlight it, and then if they want to check it out, again, reminds them that I'm a good marketer. They can check out the video. Then I'm highlighting like a restaurant there, which I actually went to for a date night. So kind of put in there, and then little design trends. Sherwin-Williams colors of the year, give them my opinion, and then of course always put the home value. I always want them to come back, check in their home value. So there's a button for that, and then at the end, call to action, and that's about it. So that's pretty simple one too to replicate. Similar like what Bob has. You have some statistics. You might want to get a little bit fun with like a restaurant or anything else. But the way I do it, I'll go back to, you go to campaigns. So let's say this one I already sent it out. So if I want to replicate it, so 22%, that's not bad for open rate. I mean, ideally I like to get towards 30, but a lot of times the subject line really matters. So if you're not getting high open rates, really kind of figure out what the subject line you have. So, but here I would just click replicate, for example, and then I can start working on my February newsletter. So right now I'm sending out to about 5,000 people. I go edit design, and it's so easy. So again, if I want to change little intro, I would change it. If I want to, obviously I will change the picture, and then this would be again some stats, change it, plug in the article. And nice thing is with every picture, or you can plug in like here you go. You see you have the website added. So if they want to go deeper, click, or you can actually have these specific buttons there. Say like, hey, read more. So again, it's not like anything fancy. I think Bob's even probably visually more appealing than mine, but it doesn't matter. The point is getting people reminder, hey, I'm still selling real estate. I'm here to provide value. But I think the big thing is don't just throw random stats. We have 50 new listings. This just explain and break it down in simple terms. And the easiest way to do it, copy the stats, plug in ChatGPT, and just say, hey, summarize this for my buyer and seller clients in simple terms to what this means for them as a buyer or what this means for them as a seller. And then we'll simply kind of say, hey, if there's only 1.5 month of inventory out there. What this means is we're still in the seller's market, and we'll say it in that kind of way. So then buyers will and sellers will have an easy way to understand that. Hopefully that answers your question, Brad. As far as templates, you can pre-create them, and I have different ones for like another email here. I'll show you that I sent. I think email is so fun and easy because of ChatGPT. English is my second language. I'm not good at like posting stuff from my own. I have good vision to what I want to say. So a lot of times I'll write everything out, and then I'll use the right whatever action with ChatGPT, and I'll say, hey, rewrite this in this style. And I already created my own style based on people I used. I told ChatGPT, hey, now call this style Damien style. So now I can put it in. I say, write this Damien style. And it's always consistent because you don't want to sound like one person and also sound like another person in different ones. So you have that consistency going. Lisa, go ahead.
So would you mind sharing that newsletter with us?
You're muted.
You're muted, D.
Yes, I'll post it here once I get done talking in the chat because you can also use them as a website URL, so you can post on social if you wanted to. So you can again multiple channels if you want, which is really nice and easy. But yeah, before I just jump off, I want to show you here's the one email I sent out this morning. Let me share my page and share. And again, thanks to ChatGPT. Actually, I'll give you guys a little game here on this one. Where is it? Here we go. So this specific email, I watched a video of a person who spoke about this, and I copied his YouTube video and I took the transcript from the video and then I put it in ChatGPT and I said, rewrite this as an email for my clients, my style. So it took me two minutes to create this. And as you read it too, it's it's very smooth, like the way the whole email, and I also like this copywriting style where it's every sentence spaced out. But anyway, and then at the end, again, little call to action. We offer free home valuations, home improvement audits. And I do this once or twice a week, these kind of similar emails that are kind of towards sellers. Maybe it's a tip, maybe it's kind of what's going on with the market, but it doesn't have to be complicated with ChatGPT. You guys should easy should be doing a couple emails a month because it doesn't take that much. Take a couple things, combine them, throw them in ChatGPT, and just say, hey, help me create a really thorough email for my clients that I will be as it shows value, but also shows I'm educated. There's multiple ways you can rewrite it, but yeah, I'll post it in a video. So any other questions, guys, before we wrap this topic up?
Yep, I got one more.
Go ahead, Brad.
To put a video on, do you use BombBomb and then create a link to put in there, or can you put a video through MailChimp?
I just typically if I put a video, it's just from either my own videos that I posted, and it will be either on my Instagram or Facebook or YouTube, and I just put the link in there. Or sometimes if it's my personal listing videos, like I just put a link of my company there. I use Agent Media for photos, and they'll have like a link too that I can directly put of the video. Sometimes too, if you don't want that specific video, for example, on everyone to see it, you can do YouTube unlisted. So only the specific link, people with a link will be able to see that. So that's also a way I've done like client appreciation event invites. I'll do a personal video. And then I did on my YouTube, but I made it like unlisted, which is if you just YouTube me, you would Google me on YouTube, you will not see that video because it's private to that specific link.
Thank you.
Damien, if you stop share, I just wanted to
give me a
share my
second.
screen real quick because I want to show people how easy it is if you use Canva. So if you're just gonna like piecemeal a one pager together, Canva's got like so many great. Let me just do this here.
Do they do Canva classes?
They do. There's so many tutorials. Can you guys see this?
Yep.
So all I did was type in newsletter right up here at the top of like what I wanted to create and just look at all the thousands of templates that you can, so you find one, you go, oh, I love this one. You can click on it and literally just start, changing it the way that you want, right? So, you just click customize that template, and now you can just start plug and play and put your name and whatever. So like Damien said, you ask ChatGPT to rewrite something, you can copy and paste that, and now that's your little blurb, right? And so shouldn't take you very long. You can always add a page as well. You can duplicate the page so it has the same look, and then just, for future pages so that's consistent. But I mean, super easy. But I would definitely say use the free stuff, if you're tight on a budget, and then, rob and duplicate.
And that's in the free version of Canva, Kelly?
I have the pro version, but I think EXP provides the pro version, I believe. I don't know, Brad, are you with EXP?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you should be able to do that. But I think free version too. I mean, you can get into newsletters. It just might limit like some of the options of pictures and things like that. But in those videos, you can all, or I mean, in those newsletters, you can also embed a link for a video. So easy to do.
You go to enterprise or something to get
Yep.
Pro
Yep. So
Canva?
on your dashboard, there should be a box that says Canva. So you can go right
Oh,
in there.
nice. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, they just approved that for us in January, which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet.
All right.
Damien, I was just going to encourage others with having like 5,000 that you're emailing to and emailing once a week. I see your open rate at 28%, but are you getting those that unsubscribe?
Yeah,
Because I
I
think
mean
that's a
there's always
misconception.
there's always some unsubscribes, but that's again I'm making my database of loyal followers are gonna keep opening and
Yeah.
opening the way I look at it. So and because they unsubscribe doesn't mean like I'm not gonna reach out in the future with via phone calls. You do have consistent people who are seeing it and they're opening. That's kind of the goal over consistently over years. Keep doing it so when they're ready, they're gonna say, all right. But yeah, I get, I've had emails where I've gotten better at writing them where it's much less, but I remember when I first started, or if you just upload your whole database into it, you probably get the most upfront because they'll be like, I haven't heard from you and I don't want to hear from you. But the more you keep sending, you don't really get unsubscribes. You will get some, but it's not going to be at a high, I would say maybe I get 2 to 5 at a time that I send it out, sometimes none at all. So. All right. So next topic, budgeting. And what else do we have there? Budgeting. Just we have, financial planning and budgeting. So who here may be in the process of trying to like redo something, or maybe have specific question to your situation that maybe we can be a more of help instead of very broad. And I know everybody's got in different things that they're planning for and doing the way they're running their businesses, but maybe right now you're in a place where you're like, hey, I'm trying to figure something out if I should invest into something or if I should, financially plan something different for like, I don't know. This is very, very open. It's broad right now. So who has anything they might want to ask?
I think real estate agents in general get squirrely, right? You follow the shiny objects, and whenever business starts slowing down, we try to throw some money at it, and we're very inconsistent. I think that's, if there's one thing maybe to take away, it's not just do the one thing once, because it's not going to work, right? And so your budgeting for that should be very consistent to try to even out the ups and downs. And you should just have a plan of, okay, I'm going to spend X amount of dollars on whatever it is consistently every month to try to even out the business.
Yeah, but to back that up, so let's just use an example. Let's say you're thinking about hiring an assistant, right? Or adding someone to your team. And people, I think, get very overwhelmed by like what that might cost for the entire year. Like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have a $40,000 salary or whatever. I think you can break that down and say, I'm going to hire somebody and I'm really only thinking of the investment for the first quarter, because your job on any dollar you spend when you're dealing with your financials is to hold it accountable, right? So if I'm going to hire, Sally Smith here to be my assistant. I have to pay her $2,500 every month or whatever it is. I'm holding her accountable every month. Is she doing what she's supposed to be doing? Is she allowing me to get extra business, which is helping to pay for her salary, right? And if not, I can cut her loose after the first quarter, or you don't have to think about, oh my gosh, it's going to cost me 45,000. It might cost you 10,000, right? To get through the first couple months and see how they're working out.
I think
Good.
budgeting is such a non-sexy topic, right? And I think just like business planning, it's like, do you create a plan for the year? And we keep saying this over and over, stay consistent. So I think right now in this market, right, everybody's vying for leads. What do I do to get more leads? And I love what you said, Kelly, about like taking a quarter and then measuring your results. So is anybody like budgeting differently for leads right now, or even not differently, just something you've done consistently that's helped you get more leads?
I mean, I'm quick to decide on something. I'm very quick into like I've done a lot of stuff that just failed, but at least it like I knew that wasn't for me. Like I've done the whole Red X, right? Calling expireds, and it's just not my style. I'm not a fan. And but I knew, but at that point, I know Angela's like listings, but there's different ways again to keep getting closer to what works for you. I've done like the whole they're leaving voicemails like that you leave to the neighborhoods cost automatically they'll just blast this voicemail blast, and like I just felt like it wasn't for me, but I know some people are crushing with it, so I think it's like start working on what can work for me like what stuck for a long time. I've been with Ylopo, for example, for a long time, and I see a return at the end of the year for what I put in. I calculate, my annual investment and what comes back, and it's pretty profitable. And again, when I look at the big picture, the leads keep coming in, and some of those leads might come back in 3 years and revisit because Walopa does remarketing for him. So I've had people where, I saw in the notes they went with another agent, but now they're back looking, and it gives me that little. So I know that's a safe system that I don't want to step away with. I get a ton of calls like on Zillow, and I might invest in Zillow and just give it a test because I know there's some zip codes opened up, but it's still like it's hard because I might just test it and give it a go for 3 months. If I don't see it, I can kind of walk away, and yeah, there might be a loss, but if I get something and it's working, I'm going to continue doing it. That's the way I kind of process. So looks like Kelly's got a question. Bob, you pay for leads. How do you hold them that accountable?
Yeah, good question. So, to your point, Damon, too, we've tried everything with leads, right? We've bought all kinds of leads over our years here. And, the one thing that's consistent that works for us is we still very much invest in Zillow. So right now, when we first got into Zillow, we've been with Zillow for over almost 13 years now. And when we first were with Zillow, our investment was for every dollar we spent, we got $6 back, which was great. So we're like, this is awesome. Now it's for every dollar you're spending, you're getting about $1.60 back. So the question is how do we pay for leads? Yeah, but how do we hold people accountable? So what we have here is we have one-on-one agent, we have one-on-one, we're a team, obviously. So we have one-on-one meetings with our agents, and we basically look at and break up their follow-up boss and look and see kind of where their leads are in the process. Okay. And there needs to be some, and we're actually one of the top converting teams in our marketplace, which is great. And the top converting team for Zillow is 8%. So if you figure that you're getting 100 leads, typically what we're finding is 8% of those are turning into closed deals for us. Okay. So our spend is at the level where we're generating a lot of leads to get that 8% back. But it's not for everybody. I mean, when we first started doing this, I would throw up in my mouth, trust me, because I would be sick based on what we were spending. But then when you actually know the numbers and you look at it, you're like, all right, we're spending 6 figures for this lead, but we're also making 6 figures, times, making more money because of it. And to Damon's point is we're building our databases, right? So we're continuing to build our database. So we hope that once that Zillow lead comes to us and we close a deal, they're never going to go to another Zillow agent again. They're always going to be with the Snyder team, right? So it helps us build our databases. But one thing I want to mention with leads and investments in real estate, et cetera, is that one thing that I've learned, and I've burned a lot of money. I mean, I've burned a bunch of college funds doing this, right? So is that if you need to give that lead source enough time and you need to invest in your time in accountability, et cetera, and at least give it 6 months for that particular deal that you are investing in. So if you buy a realtor.com zip code or a Zillow zip code, and all of a sudden after 2 months you don't have a deal, that's not the right way to, don't stop it, because now you just actually burn that money, and it's not for the faint of heart. You're going to keep spending that money, but eventually you're going to end up turning that into something to cover the cost of those leads for the previous months, and then start gaining some momentum. So I'll give you guys an example. So we have we take out a one-page ad in the Tri-County, which is Western Wisconsin, goes to Somerset, New Richmond, et cetera. So that costs us a significant amount of money every month. We've been doing that now for 4 months, and we've gotten some leads, but we haven't converted any deals. I got 3 listing appointments in the last 2 weeks from that ad. Okay, so, and we got our first closing from it. So now, if I can convert all that stuff, I've already paid for that lead source for the year, and now I'm going to go. Now everything from there is gravy, right? And what it's doing is it's helping me build my database, helping our team build their database, and also it's helping with brand recognition in the marketplace. Because in our market here, guys, and Angela and I have talked about this a variety of times, we are competing with some big dogs. So, the having your niche that works well for you is important to stick with it and stay consistent with it. So for us, we kind of look and say, okay, we don't want to necessarily play where some of these bigger players are playing. We're going to play in these areas, which are going to be a little bit more niche. So really kind of look at that and examine that piece of it, because there's still a ton of opportunity out there. Even with the bigger players like the Parker Pembertons, the Chris Lindells, those types of people in our marketplace, we still have opportunity to knock down business. You just got to figure out where that is and try different things, but try it for 6 months. Don't try it for 6 weeks.
I think
Yeah,
also,
no, go
I
ahead,
was just
Kelly.
going to say, if you guys don't have a budget, or, if you're not operating on, some kind of a system for how you spend your money, you need to do that. And typically I would say you should be doing that probably in October for the next upcoming year. But if you haven't done it, there's no time like the present. But we've already, like just today, we've mentioned probably 10 different things you could subscribe to or buy or whatever, right? So it's very hard to pick and choose what works. So you really have to, instead of chasing everything, pick the 1, 2, or 3 things that really, really work for you, and set your budget. You can always do the red light, green light, right? Well, I'm making some more money. I've got some more money to spend. Maybe I can add something I've been thinking about. If the money's not coming in or the sales are slower, we're in red light mode, right? So we're going to kind of watch. I don't think there are, whatever kind of market it is, I am still a firm believer in running a tight ship. Cut out the fat, keep what's working, right? So no matter what, just run lean so that you have some extra money if something comes up that you do want to implement.
Awesome. All right, Matt.
One thing I want to add, because God knows I have burned enough money in the kind of tools and stuff that never used. Before you commit financially to anything, make sure you understand what it is, whether it's a tool, it's a service, and what it takes time-wise to commit to, and the action you need to take to make that tool or service work for you. Because God knows we are all guilty of paying for stuff they never used, and then we commit financially to whatever it is, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, and then now we're trying to figure out, how do I do this? And then it falls behind and it get never used. So when you're exposed to a service, a tool, whatever it is, $20 a month, $2,000 a month, understand what it is that you need to know and do, the time commitment. And if you're willing to commit to that, then my suggestion, like Bob said, at least 6-month commitment, meaning that if I don't have income coming in next 6 months, can I carry this? And please, for God's sake, do not put it on your credit card as a way of paying it. Now, you can pay it through your credit card, but if you don't have the money, don't do it. Go back to, I don't know, Gary Keller's green light, red light, if you're familiar with that, that's a red light. If you don't have money to commit to it, 6 months down the road, especially if you haven't made any money in it, now it's a burden on your financial situation.
Good point, Matt. If you can't commit to it, then just like, when we get advice about getting into real estate, if you don't have money to carry yourself for 6 months, you better have another job or something in place. But
I think it would be a good
definitely.
takeaway from this call, even just a takeaway from this call is go through, like leave this call and go through your expenses and red light, green it. Like, should I carry this on or should I just take it out? And what you anticipate for your business to look like the next 12 months, or if you're getting a return. So if anything, I would say that would be a great exercise to walk away from this call doing.
Yeah. Anything else, guys? Anything else? I mean, this doesn't have to be leads. Like, is anybody doing anything specific throughout the year that you've been, putting money aside? Obviously, taxes. I hope everybody's putting away 30, 35, 40, whatever, for taxes. But is anybody else doing outside of that to build that financial security? Is there anything you're investing in? Anything that you just maybe setting aside that helped you keep more? Any advice?
Well, I think a lot of it kind of depends on, how you run your real estate business, but at a minimum, pay yourself first. And what I mean by that is make sure you're paying yourself obviously enough to get through your monthly expensive. Second of all is pay your retirement. Is one of the things that Jennifer and I have done for years within our group. We started off with a simple IRA and we were a smaller company, and then we went to a SEP IRA, and now we're a 401k company. So every month we invest in our retirement. Obviously we've invested in buildings and that sort of thing as well. So, by doing that now over the last 20 some years, we're in a position to retire someday, which a lot of people don't do from this business. The other thing too is make sure you're with a brokerage that supports your financial goals, so that's kind of a key piece as well. So, there's a lot of, I don't know how many people, where everybody's from on here, but, for us, it was a good move to move from Remax to EXP because that supported our goals as far as our future retirement goes. So, depending upon, I mean, make this business so it's going to work well for you and take advantage of some opportunities with different income sources. And getting back to expenses too and advertising, leverage your relationships with your lenders, with your people that you're doing business with. There's ways that you can work out legal arrangements with them to allow them to help you pay for your advertising to generate leads, because they are the benefactors of you guys doing deals. Your lenders, your title companies, all those folks all benefit from the work that we're doing. We got the feet on the street making it all happen, and they're benefiting from it. So you can have marketing services agreements drafted up. You can do a lot of different things. So sometimes you got to be creative to help build your marketing budget. And I recommend you dig into that a little bit too, especially if there's some things there that might be a little bit, like I always say, throw it up in your mouth a little bit about what you want to spend. Well, maybe there's a lender out there that's willing to cover half of it for you, and they can advertise with it as well. So, think of all those things as you're kind of putting it all together, because it's great to make a $10,000 commission or $15,000 commission, but if your expenses are $12,000, well, that doesn't, make zero sense. You might as well go work at the gas station, so.
Good point, Bob. All right, guys. Well, if there's any, let's say we have last 10 minutes, we can maybe just open up for any general questions, and it doesn't have to be the topics we covered. Maybe you're going through something right now. Is there anything that you guys want to talk through? All right, we got Matt.
Yeah, on a different topic, I don't know if you guys were aware of it. There was a rule, I think it's a FCC rule, that was supposed to kick in last January, January 26th, I believe. It's called one-to-one consent for especially things that is going to affect how we generate leads or buy leads. And now, thank goodness there was a court proceeding that is going on, so they delayed it to next year, February. But I was wondering if you guys are aware of it or what you think about it, especially people who buy leads or generate leads and they want to call their leads. That affects them, or even the quality of the leads in terms of those lead aggregators. How do you think it's going to affect that?
I went to a webinar by Lopos on this specifically, and as long as I mean, there's a lot of takeaways, and I took some notes. I have to go back, but they were pretty much, as long as you register, and this is obviously the online leads. We're not talking about like your past client people you input, yeah. But as long as I mean, at one point said yes to receiving calls, and that's typically happens through registration, and that's why these companies they have to do it. But then in the future ones, let's say they didn't, if they ever come back through remarketing, they're going to keep so the way these companies are adapting, they're going to keep asking this question if they come back again, and if they say yes to it, and you can look at it through your CRM that they've agreed to it, that means they filled out that question or whatever that was. I mean, after that call that I had, I'm not going to go in depth on it, but I did have notes. I mean, I felt pretty comfortable with it's not going to be that big of a deal. I think it's going to affect more people who are completely cold call. The RADX, all that stuff. Like, if they don't have the permission, that's robot dialer on that sense, where they have triple line dialers. That's where they were really saying that's where it's probably going to affect the most. But people who come through your system, you get the consent. I mean, based on what I use and system I use, I was pretty comfortable with where things are going to go.
Yeah, I would second that, Dave. And the key thing is having a CRM that tracks when that customer comes in and having that history of that client. That's going to be key as that goes. But I think, yeah, the ones that are using the war dialers and that sort of thing, those are really the people that are going to get affected. Which I don't know about you guys, but I would be okay if those war dialers went away, because I'm sick and tired of my 9 out of 10 of my calls that come on my phone are war dialers. People trying to do that kind of, trying to solicit business. So, but my business isn't based on that, so that's why I'm okay with it.
So one specific question, like when a buyer leads come in, again, whether it's online, it's not from your sphere, it's not from your known clients. Typically, we ask our loan officer to help us with connecting with the buyer. So from what I understand, with this rule, that the lead that you have, you cannot pass it on to your lender. Is that how you understand it, or is it different?
I haven't dug into it that much, and for us, typically a lender's not getting a lead unless we've already established a relationship with that lead where we feel like we can refer them. So we don't
It's
have
more automatic, isn't it? Like,
what's that?
I think it's trying to stop the automatic farming out of a lead that comes in, right? So if it comes into me and I have ancillary businesses that now get that data, unless that client has checked the box that says they're okay with that, it just can't be passed on. I mean, that's a very simplistic version, and I know that there's more to it. And Angela posted a link in the chat if you guys want to read more, but I mean, that, unless I'm wrong, you guys dug into it a little further.
I haven't dug into it too much, but thank goodness it's a year out. So I would say stay consistent with your database and all that good stuff, and you should be fine. Melissa put a note there about open houses being slow. I'm just curious what you guys are seeing with this market right now. I know you're all very consistent, but how are you overcoming just people not really wanting to move with rates and pricing and things not coming down? What are your conversations like?
Well, I would argue that open houses for us have been really good. We just had one over in Hudson that we had 11 groups through, and the open houses that we've been having, if they're not like way out of market, have been pretty busy for us. I don't know what else you guys can say in that regard. But
What was the price point?
so I got 309.9, 479.9, and a 420.
Yeah,
Those
see,
were all really busy.
that's gonna be busy all day long. I'm surprised it was even
Yeah.
on the market long enough for an open house.
Yeah. So, yeah,
Yeah,
all of
I
our
think
open
the
houses
other
have been
ones
really
are hard. I think I just sat all weekend long in our model at our new construction, and I had one person over, basically 2 weekends of Saturday, Sunday open house. I had one person,
What price point?
675.
Mhm.
So I agree with Damien. He said it's too cold. I mean, we could make excuses all day long. We're just not seeing a ton of traffic down here. So.
Yeah, I think overall the showing traffic has been a little bit lighter, and partly it is because of the weather. You know, I don't know if Tina's still on the call here or not, but Tina has a lake home on the market. I have a lake home on the market. It's been super duper slow, but now all of a sudden this last week, I got in my lake home's 1.75 million, so there's not a lot of buyers for it, but I got first showing, and now I got another showing scheduled on it, and her price point was mid fours, and now she was getting, sounds like, multiple offers on hers, but it was just sitting there beforehand. So I think it's all very situational. I would say right now out there it's really hard to predict, unless, like I said, for instance, we had a $460,000 listing in Woodbury, and the door hinges were falling off, because it was so busy. So um yeah, I think it all kind of depends. You
Probably
could be.
another reason Damien should keep that listing on the market.
Oh, absolutely. I keep
Right?
that up,
Because next
especially
week,
great
who knows,
homes.
the buyer could walk in. So,
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what I tell my
I agree.
clients. I said, you can't win if you're not playing. So you got to be on the market, you know.
Yep, yep. All right, guys. Well, no, good session. I don't, do we have the next week topics by any chance?
I think next week, let's see. I know we've covered a few times here. Let's see. Is it leveraging personal branding? I don't know. I think we went through our list pretty much. It was mindset, maybe handling price reductions, mastering mindset and overcoming limiting beliefs, and building and leading team members. Unless someone else wants anything else, that's what we have on the docket. Sounds good. Oh, you're on mute, Kelly.
I was just gonna say, agreed. If you guys have topics, feel free. I mean, jot them down, send them to us. We'll just add them on the list. It's about helping you guys and helping all of us, right? So don't be quiet. Throw your questions out.
Sounds
All
good.
right, guys. Well, have a great week. Get some sales. And we'll see you guys next week.
Thank you.
See you guys next
Bye.
week.
Take care. Bye.